Robert, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What can you tell me about crystals?
I was just looking at these crystals, and they come in a lot of form. We have, like, at Mayflower Bookshop, we have crystals that I bought in the 1980s that are double terminated and or handheld. You know, they're different sizes. And these crystals, they grow like this. Some of them are cut to be the shape, but most of them we have like about 300 of these handheld crystals that are so rare. You don't see them at shows anymore. And they sell for around $100 to $300 a piece. But they're beautiful crystals, and you can see, like, when the light hits them, like, you can see all the different, the light hits them and you see, like, universes in there. Quartz crystals are phenomena that exist between the mineral and plant realm. Quartz takes millions of years to grow. Quartz crystals were probably around before the time of Atlantis. And you can see how they can be used, gemstones and crystals can be used in, like, this chakra stained glass. They use crystals everywhere. Quartz watches. They grow crystals very quick in outer space because they use crystals in high technology. That's why the good crystals are hard to find. A lot of times we find crystals that aren't real crystals for some reason. They're man-made, or they're fake, or and there's crystals in Arkansas and Brazil. Quartz crystals have piezo or piezo, depending on how you pronounce it, electricity. And the electricity has a pulse to it that they use in quartz watches. And in laser guns and laser beams, they'll use rubies and different kinds of minerals like quartz in different technological devices. Quartz crystals keep, like, a certain kind of timing that's not quite as good as radioactive timing, but it's the next best, I think. That's why you see the quartz watches. But there's a whole scientific side to quartz crystals that's really amazing. But for the most part, I like quartz crystals because they're like, if you put a quartz crystal on your forehead, it's very cool, and it calms down and cools the hot thinking. We should have cool thinking, cool head, warm belly, and good macrobiotic vegetarian food, something like that. Grains and greens and beans and, like that. Seaweed and miso soup. I mean, that's some of the ideals of the Om Cafe, for instance, that Colleen Smiley and I long ago started. But here at the Mayflower Bookshop, quartz crystals, if you put them around your head within 3 feet at night, it will enhance your dream life. It will help you to dream true and to find meaningful, significant dreams that reveal hidden secrets of the spirit, or insights into tomorrow, or interpreting yesterday so that it matters today into tomorrow. A lot of times I'll have quartz crystal around my head, and then if I feel stuck, I'll move the crystal to below my feet. I've experimented with quartz crystals linked up to each other all around my bed. I like these handheld ones. They're really worth spending $100, $300 to get one of these. They're hard to find. And a lot of people proclaim that you put quartz crystal on your body and you imagine you breathe into your heart, like a psychic healing trick, for instance, that we could use with integrative medicine, psychic healing trick. Wherever it hurts, you imagine your nose is there. I'll even put a quartz crystal. Some people hurt in different places, you know what I mean? They hurt in their head, they hurt in their, they hurt in their stomach or their heart, they hurt in their neck or their shoulders. And you put the crystal there, and I put my nose there, and I breathe into my heart. I dissolve everything into my heart. I wish I had enlightenment. I bless everyone who suffers as I breathe out. In the old days, we'd experiment. There used to be a lot of videos with a good friend of mine, Doug Gabriel, and myself, and we would talk about quartz crystals, and we'd lay quartz crystals on the chakras and all over the body. And so you'd be weighed down with these crystals, and you'd relax, and then you'd take them off, and you'd feel like you're springing forth. I mean, there's people get very carried away with gemstones and crystals. I love crystals. At the very minimum, they help us feel grounded. They can help you to have crystal clear thinking. Crystals are said to be, they were found in fragments and pieces at sacred Native American Indian ceremonial grounds and initiation grounds. And fragments of quartz crystal were found in sacred centers of Tibetan Buddhists in Tibet. And I remember asking Gelek Rinpoche why this was. I'd ask other lamas, Kalu Rinpoche, Kempton Kantro Rinpoche. I can't remember all their names, There's so many lamas I've hung out with, along with so many interesting spiritual people and Native American Indian people. Long ago, I introduced Sun Bear to the Dalai Lama and talked about how the red man and the Celts and the Tibetans were from Atlantis. They were the pure wisdom of Atlantis. Rudolf Steiner said that. That's why we want to study them, get that wisdom from Atlantis. Well, quartz crystals came about in Atlantis at the same time that the human beings I am started to gel in the higher bodies. When we started to get an I, that really incarnated into the physical at the time of 300 BC to 350 or so AD, is when everyone got an I am. Whether or not you believe in Jesus the Christ, in the sense of Rudolf Steiner, or in the sense of the yogis of India, that Jesus had gone to India. No matter what you believe, somehow we got a sense of I am that came with the quartz crystals starting in Atlantis, and the seed of the crystal of the I, and came fully into incarnation during the time of the Christ, so-called. And again, all of us, if you ask people what these words mean, everybody would have a different interpretation. So I'm just trying to say that I think quartz crystals can help you to become crystal clear. They can help enhance your psychic dreams. They can be an agent for healing force. Nobody can explain the placebo effect. And for a long time, people paid a lot of money trying to disprove the placebo effect. The placebo effect is that 1,000 people have a certain health problem. Half of them are given fake medicine and they'll say this is medicine, but it's only juice or something. And the other people get the medicine, but they have the same result of healing. And now scientists are studying the placebo effect to see if they can figure out how it works so they can charge you for it. So even if all this at the Mayflower Bookshop is a placebo effect, it's a good one. I think there's something to it, and it's much more than the placebo effect. It's our connection with the earth, and our connection with infinite time, our connection with something that can crystallize and capture light. Crystals have captured the starlight going through the earth, and they're growing. They take millions of years to grow, and they're upright, and they're like flowering. They're not a mineral, they're not a flower, they're somewhere in between. They're crystallization. It's like the crisis of the Christ opportunity that crystallizes in our everyday if we can see it. The idea that Jesus is every man and Christ is no man, an old philosophical statement, philosophy meaning love of truth. The idea of that is that every one of us has the possibility to walk in every man's moccasins, every man and woman's moccasins, and have compassion for the struggle and striving of each and every soul. And that each of us can see the divine. We can divine the divine. This is what divination means, to divine the divine. And you can hold a crystal at your head, or you can look into the quality of the space, the quality of the sparkle in the space. You can look at the thickness of the water, and it loosens the consciousness a little bit, so you can ask a question. This is what scrying. Queen Elizabeth would use crystals to do crystal ball reading or scrying. I would relax, be still, look at the sparkles in the space, the sparkle in the space. There's a spark in my heart of the solar wisdom, and there's a space. And I ponder it. There's a me that ponders the spark in the space, in the crystal, and myself. Higher consciousness can evolve. So this is just a brief, very brief introduction. But if you want a good quartz crystal, you can get them for $1, but most of the good ones start at $10, $20, $30, $40. And then it goes to 100 to 300 for really good quartz crystal, very hard to find at the Mayflower Bookshop. So, or find them, go down to Arkansas and mine them yourself. Be crystal clear about this. Unless you awaken the intelligence of the heart, the wisdom of all ages and all sages within yourself, you need a new mummy daddy. But our mother and father of the everything and nothing, and your mother and father, and your mother's mother's father's father's father, they all wished that we would stop being the baby Jesus every Christmas, and we'd be the adult. And that we would rise from the cross. Plato said the world's soul is crucified, fourfolded, in time and space within each individual. They said that he was betraying the mystery schools. That you're not only physical, emotional, and mental, that we have a sense of I am. I am everything and nothing. And I'm a consciousness soul. Rudolf Steiner's threefold soul nature, sentient, intellectual, and consciousness soul is no different than our connection to everything and nothing, the need to create out of nothing, and the need to participate with everything. And the mind that can handle that is crucified between the two, you might say. The fourth member is the reincarnating soul, the architectural vocabulary of the soul's becoming, trying to weave spirit and matter into a dance of holiness, peacemaking, love-making, music-making, friendship-making, and every particle of your body and this earth is holy. Once you start to make this holy in your dream, and you can use tools, you can use statues of Buddha and Ishtar, and you can use things to reflect the virtues that are possible, to invoke your higher self. But ultimately, nothing works but you. Hope you liked it. Robert Mayflower Bookshop.
Enlightening words from Robert from Mayflower Bookshop.